This is the Fifth Estate, a conversation between young African scholars from the Fort Hall School of Government and Professor Mutahi Ngunye. This Sunday, we will release the first term report card for the Fort Hall Primary School of Politics, class of 2022. We graded the pupils on effort and on achievement. And number one in class is a shocker. It is William Ruto. He has distinguished himself as a very clever schemer. That is why we give him an A+ for effort. However, whether his schemes will bear fruit or not is yet ungradable. That is why we give him a U* on achievement. Ruto is as clever as this man who bought 12 rare cigars. Then, he insured them against fire. Shortly after, he smoked them all. When he finished the last cigar, he filed a claim with the insurance firm stating that the cigars had been destroyed in a series of small fires. The court forced the insurance to pay him $12,000. As soon as the clever man cashed the check, he was arrested for arson and for intentionally setting insured property on fire. He was locked up for 24 months. Like this man, we wonder where Ruto's cleverness will land him.
Now we will give the report form for Raila Odinga, the Baba man. Because he had COVID, we will be kind in the name of oxygen. Although absent from school, Raila surprisingly did very well. He is also number one, like Ruto. For effort, we give him a D+. And for achievement, we give him an A plane. We give Raila a D+ for effort because he is losing energy, and we blame Ruto for sucking his energy. Although Ruto was a student of Moi, he did his practicals under Raila. Ruto is like the camel that was taken on a long journey by his Arab master. At night, the Arab stopped, pitched his tent, and tied his camel. But the night was so cold. So the camel asked the Arab if he could put his head in the tent. The Arab agreed. Then the camel asked if he could put his neck and front legs. The Arab obliged. And then the camel complained that his hump was too cold. The Arab allowed him to put it in the tent. In the end, the entire camel got into the tent and kicked out the Arab. Left unchecked, Ruto will do this to Baba Man.
Here is a report card for Dr. Matiangi Fred. This man has never run for any political office, but for daring to dream of the big job, Dr. Matiangi Fred gets an A+ for achievement. However, he is still ungradable and he gets a U*. Like Ruto and Raila, Matiangi is also miraculously number one in class. But if Ruto has tried to bully Raila, he will bully Matiangi. Once upon a time, a lion called Ruto summoned all the animals in the jungle. He wanted them to know who is king in 2022. He went to all the big animals and asked, "Who is king of the jungle?" They all replied, "Ruto, of course." But when he got to the elephant, he was shocked. The elephant grabbed the lion and whirled him several times in the air, slammed him into a tree and pounded him several times on the ground, and later threw him into a nearby lake. Beaten, bruised, and battered, the lion struggled to its feet. He looked at the elephant through sad and bloody eyes and said, "Just because you do not know the answer, my friend, You don't have to be so mean. And this is how Matiang'i will treat Ruto.
And now the report card for the bearded sisters of NASA. They abused Babaman and told him he was firing blanks in 2017. Then they lost. If it was not for the kindness of Uhuru Kenyatta, the bearded sisters will be languishing in the wilderness today, eating bitter roots and honey. For effort in supporting Babaman despite his failures, they score an A+. For achievement in getting him to fire State House substance and not opposition blanks, they score an E-. And because God loves a man who tries, the bearded sisters are also number 1 in the political class of 2022. However, these sisters suffer from the curse of great potential. This is the story of a very smart man with incredible credentials like these bearded sisters. But this man lived too cautiously. He took no risks and dared no devil. And then he died. In death, the insurance refused to pay his relatives. Their argument was simple. Since the man never really lived, the man never really died. The bearded sisters of NASA have dared no devil. And because of this, they really never lived politically. They will never be rewarded with presidential insurance.
Here is the report card for heroic failures in the Fortol class of politics 2022. They include Martha Karua, who was born with a hole in her political head. Peter Kenneth, who thinks he will become president because he looks like Obama, a Muzungu. Other Earthlings who think they can inherit Uhuru Kenyatta using bandit methods. This cohort of heroic failures get an E- from us. However, the results on the website, that place where Kenyans go to run their mouths, give them an A+. The results on the website also show that they are number 1 in the class of 2022. These heroic failures are number 1 in 2022 like Raila, Ruto, Matiang'i, and the bearded sisters. Is this possible? Failure does not mean collapse. People know a failure's name, but not his story. They have heard what your failures are, but not your journey or what you have been through. It is not what the public thinks about your failures that counts. It is what you think about yourself that counts. What is our verdict? Whichever way you go, these heroic failures will amount to nothing. But if they become kingmakers, they will become more powerful than they think.
And now, a random thought. We are all like an aging ego. In its 40s and 50s, an ego has anger and frustration because it is tired. Its talons are overgrown and weak. They cannot grip its prey. Its beak is dull and bent. It cannot pick or peck. Its body is overgrown with feathers, heavy, sticky, and useless. The ego at this moment cannot fly. In this state, the ego has only 2 options: to die or retreat to the mountaintops and revive itself through pain. If it chooses the mountaintops of pain, the ego plucks out all its feathers, then it plucks out the talons from its feet. Lastly, it knocks off its beak by banging it against a rock until it comes out. Defenseless, it waits for its feathers, beak, and talons to grow back. In the meantime, other eagles fly overhead, scaring off predators and bringing it food. When its beak, feathers, and talons grow back, the eagle is as good as new. And this, dear Kenyans, is Uhuru Kenyatta for you. He did the unthinkable by taking the eagle to the mountaintop of pain. Now, the eagle is reviving itself, and soon it will fly.